Hello everyone, good evening. So how many we have here? So, okay, welcome to APU live seminar session. It's me again. My name is Long from Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, APU. I'm your host for today. I hope everyone already had your dinner. And for those who just off work and traveling back home, stay safe and stay relaxed to enjoy our live seminar session now. All right. I would like to invite you all to come to our APU Open Day on this weekend, 11 and 12 July from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our counselors are ready to guide you through all the pathway available for your further study. So for more information and updates, please visit our website at www.apu.edu.my and follow our Facebook page and YouTube account. So without further ado, let us explore the importance of postgraduate studies in the COVID-19 employment by Dr. Jason and Dr. Lim with me over here. Welcome, Dr. Jason and Dr. Lim.
Hi there.
Yep, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining us. And so today what we're going to talk about for maybe about 20 minutes or so is graduate employability. We're currently living in disruptive times with COVID-19, and we've got lean processes in business. So there's a number of things that perhaps you're thinking about. Then what skills do I need to compete successfully in the business environment? Whether you're currently an employer looking for employees, or whether you are looking to change positions or go back into postgraduate study, I think it's important to be aware of the skills that are required. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then it will be some question and answer, talking about in depth maybe the skills that are required, answering your questions about what we at APU are attempting to do to address the skills gap. So what we'll look at for these 20 minutes or so is some phrases, some contemporary skills that are required in this new, what they call the new normal, as they say. So we talk a little bit about industrial revolution, and to say that this is not new. The phrases change, but it's kind of the same trend that are happening. Identifying and addressing the skills gap that's required between employer and graduate, Then what we call the quadruple helix. What are governments doing? What are employers doing? What are universities doing? And what should you, the potential student, also be doing? And then what we are doing here at APU to address these particular skills and develop, particularly the soft skills of the future, of the graduate of the future. This should reassure you. There's a lot of discussion at the moment saying we're now in the fourth, or are we indeed in the fifth industrial revolution? And you've probably read or been aware of the McKinsey report and other such headlines and discussions saying the automation will come, the rise of the machine, and people will become obsolete. We will all be run and controlled by machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we will all be replaced. Well, to reassure you, there is an awful lot of discussion, but I think it's, if you look a little bit deeper into the discussion, to say that we can arm ourselves with the tools that would make sure that we are not indeed automatable, we are not obsolete. So we will be working closely and in harmony with machine, particularly in this fifth industrial revolution. So we're looking at this going, we need to map together technology with business management, and that's what we do here at APU. That's why my colleague and I are both here today, because we have the Graduate School of Technology and the Graduate School of Business. So we merge the two. So this cross-collaboration, synergy between business and technology is vital in this new industrial revolution. So remember, change is inevitable. So COVID-19 has caused us to adapt and change, but we've been changing over the years. And this is why I think it's always important to know and learn your history. So if we look at here, I've used the phrase old wine in new bottles, because this is not new. And I always like to look at this last heading, March of the Machine makes idle hands, and it's saying about unemployment because of these labor-saving devices. This was the New York Times in 1928. So I'm bringing this to your attention to say this is not new. It's not something to be frightened about. It's inevitable and something that should actually be embraced. It's the technology is meant to make our lives easier, and something to make us perhaps more creative, perhaps better at our jobs. And it will affect us on different stages. So I think when I show this to audiences, they always go, oh, the New York Times, was that recent? No, it's almost 100 years. So that was automation back then. Now we're just faced with new challenges, COVID-19 being one, and technology being another. So we've been here before. That's the first thing. So do not be threatened by the fear of mass unemployment, etc. It will, if you look at currently the marketplace, new jobs are being created and online deliveries, etc. So what we like to call is displacement. So jobs will be displaced, they will be created and not created in equal measure. So certain jobs will become obsolete and certain skills will become less important. Equally, certain skills will become more important, certain jobs will start to develop. What you have to think about is what skills and what jobs should you be getting involved in. And the good news is that although it depends on the website you go to, it depends on the report that you look at, but there's a common theme, and it's very much the people skills, about how you manage and the creativity and the problem solving. So we'll get to that in a few minutes, but our job here today is to kind of flag up certain themes that you should be aware of, whether you're wanting to go back into your studies, develop in your organization or change organization thinking. How should I upskill myself? I don't want to waste money and time. What would be the best thing to do? And as academics, we look at the literature, we look at the trends, we look at the market research, and then we feed it back to you so you're better informed. And then you can go away and find out more information from either ourselves or information online. But we're trying to give you these trends and themes. So what we've said here is, machines will replace humans if they can do a better job. So if you think about what machines are very good at, you have to look at, is my job automatable? So could I be replaced? What am I doing that is perhaps easily to replicate? And I think what we're trying to do here is identify these key aspects. So saying those that are considered routine, relatively easy to imitate, and economically viable to computerize. So that's key. I've heard a lot of stories saying I might be replaced by artificial intelligence, I might be replaced by a smart machine. We have to remember, is it economically viable? There were stories about chefs being replaced, but then saying actually it would be more economically viable not to replace them with some form of technology. And in addition, chefs are very creative. They've got that culinary talent. Can it be easily replicated by a computer? Not in theory, but replaced in reality. And that's the other thing we've got to think about. It's the typical child in the back of the car saying, are we nearly there yet? As you drive up to Genting and pull out all your hair going, no, we're not there, we're another half an hour away. Are we nearly there yet in terms of being replaced by technology? No. And the other aspect is, if we keep our skill set fresh and looking at the things that are not easy to imitate, that we remain economically viable, and indispensable to the organization, then we are maintaining our viability. There has been a creep. We've seen that in banking, online banking, healthcare, and I'll flag up in healthcare. And there's been a lot of research done recently about what are people's comfort zones, like as customers, patients, with automized or technology-enhanced healthcare. And a lot of people have said, well, for online prescriptions, that's okay. For online care, as in making my appointment, also okay. What about interaction with my doctor to get consultation? Maybe less so. I would quite like to see a human face. And what about operations? Yes, I would prefer to actually have a human rather than some form of technology, robot, etc. So people have their comfort zone. So that's why I'm saying, are we nearly there yet? It's not the case of, is the technology there, is the acceptance there. And there's an argument in the fifth industrial revolution where people maybe get a little bit tired of technology. Maybe people say, am I lacking a bit of trust? What's happening with my data? Is it being shared? You've got all these issues in playing in the background. So I'm trying to flag these issues up to reassure individuals when they go, is there something for me to worry about? And I would kind of reassure people to say, as long as you have a refreshed skill set and you're doing what you can to bridge the gap to this new technology, you can't just sit there and say, I'm aware of this thing called Microsoft Teams or Zoom, or even worse, Microsoft Office. I'm a trifle confused about what it is. Maybe I should be more familiar. Well, for sure, yes. But I'm talking there about the knowledge of the technology, and also, as we'll get onto in a minute or two, the actual skills. And that is key. And what we can do as universities to address these kind of skills. That's just to break the text monotony. But what I've done here is, some people don't know that they have just interacted with, say, a chatbot. And that's the argument. If they could do the job better than you and it's economically viable, well, maybe they will do that job. So we'll have to look at our skill set. But in a sense here, it's got job interviews are this way, where you've got humans also with robots. Equally, they could become obsolete if they are not effective. So we have to look at these aspects. It's not just ourselves and our skill set, also technology has got to keep up to date and be economically viable. So what do we mean by these skills gap? And it's confusing. When you read the literature, there's all these skills. And, you know, we have spent the last few years going through all this research to find out what are the skills that graduates need. What are the skills that, so you're maybe not a graduate, you're maybe just recently in employment, or you've been in employment for a number of years going, what is my skill set? Do I have these kind of skills? And as we kind of alluded to about the economic viability, looked at this to say the creativity, the social intelligence. So if computers don't necessarily have that degree of empathy, and they're very much black and white. So that's why we've looked at the application of AI in the legal profession, in accounting. Maybe in accounting it's slightly easier, but maybe in the legal profession where you've got to defend someone in a court, and you need that degree of empathy and personal skills. That's why a doctor should have these, let's say, the bedside manner. That's why we should have that empathy with our students to say, you know, it's okay, we try and understand. We're not very much, well, this is matter of fact. I'm afraid that's the way it is. So we need that social intelligence and interpretation to look at situations. So the creativity and the social aspects are key soft skills that should be required. So I've talked here about emotion, being passionate about something, showing that you're passionate about your job, your whatever you're doing. That means a lot to your client, your organization. So this thing here about problem solving, the ability to build up relationships, manage people, these are some key skills that are required. So if you don't take my word for it, this is what the research is saying. Future job survey is quite useful. Nothing much has changed since about 2018. So 2018, 19, 20 has been pretty much the same. Problem solving, innovative and critical thinking. You have to add value to your organization. You have to enhance your performance. So they'll be looking for, we need to save money. What innovative and creative ideas do you have? Can you manage your team to get more out of them? So if you look there at the skills, you know, flexibility, adaptability, the ability to negotiate not only with your team, but your external customers, exercise judgment, be good in terms of your service orientation, emotion, coordination, people management. So these are the sort of the social skills that are required, with the addition to think outside the box, which maybe if you're sitting there with an undergraduate degree going, yeah, there wasn't an awful lot of that in my undergraduate, that's what we do in postgraduate, where I think the days of, like when I did a postgraduate study, they said they treat me like an adult. It's more than that now. It's treating you very much to think outside the box. So to basically solve a Rubik's Cube problem, as the Rubik's Cube is resisting you and also thinking at the same time. So that's the environment that we are living in, an unpredictable environment. So you have to be a problem solver and learn from people that are not necessarily coming from a business background, not necessarily coming from say, a specific discipline, coming from a different country, a different culture. And I think that's what makes postgraduate studies. Our job is to put you in a room of people that are coming from technology, business backgrounds, social science backgrounds, and they all look at the problem differently. My father, he's an engineer, a mechanical engineer, and he always said, if you want to solve a problem, get people who are not an engineering problem, get the user, but also get people that are not necessarily engineers, because they look at the problem differently. Like Dr. Lim and myself have different skills. Together, you're able to make more of an impact and come out with a more innovative solution, rather than I come from a business background, come from a mathematics, computing background, and you say, well, I would look at it this way. So if you've got 3 or 4 people and from different backgrounds, different experiences, different countries, you're really going to take away a lot of that experience. So it's not necessarily to build these skills, you're getting taught in lectures, but it's more in the seminars, the work-based learning that goes on. So it develops these skills so that you go back to the organization and add increased value. So it's not only the curriculum, it's who you are interacting with. So as they come from a more diverse background, so the majority of our students on the postgraduate program are international, come from a diverse background, they're able to look at things differently. Also, this emotional intelligence aspect, which we develop through working in groups, developing that empathy that people are coming from diverse backgrounds and trying to help them develop and understand. So you develop the critical thinking, but also those people skills that are so valued. And nowadays, we're delivering this online. It's difficult to deal with emotional situations online. You're learning a completely new set of skills. And you know, a lot of people say, I prefer to be face-to-face. Yes, because I think that's, Dr. Lim, that's our strength. You're able to see body language, you're able to, you know, reach out to that person and say, you know, it's okay, you can reassure them. A lot more difficult to do it remotely, but let's imagine what the future of work is going to be like when you're dealing with organizations very diverse and across multiple locations. Difficult to reassure your staff and clients when you can only do that digitally. So this is a good opportunity, it's a good challenge for us as individuals, as working individuals, to empathize and build up these social skills via a digital platform, and then move forward as a new set of skills that we can develop. Now, these are just, obviously, if we look at the triple helix, this is, I remember I said at the start, it's more than us. Everyone has got to do something to help develop the skills necessary for the employment market. Now, there's a lot of text here, but the purpose here is just to reassure you that this is not new. You know, this has been around before 2003, but it's saying that we all have a responsibility. I said there was a quadruple helix, because that comes in the next slide. That is the student. To say that employers are looking for more. The ability to these, as I said, these social skills and problem solve. Governments are putting in initiatives to enhance skill set, provide work experience, particularly for undergraduates. Education providers are doing more with business. So we have a lot more work-based learning for undergraduates, more internships, real-world scenarios, general engagement, getting in consultants to deliver classes or seminars. So you're getting more of a wide range of knowledge because it has to be cross-disciplinary. You're going to be asked to get outside your comfort zone. I've talked here about, so what do we do as education providers? We do blended learning. where the onus is on you to come up with innovative solutions rather than perhaps more at the undergraduate level where solutions are being provided to you. More engagement with business, flipping it to you, that you are leading the discussions, so that you are delivering, wanting to drive the content. So, in some of my classes, I maybe have a 2-hour class with 4 slides, and it's more interactive. So that's how you learn. So you're learning from other people rather than just one person, which is the academic member of staff. But you also have to take responsibility for your own learning. And the good thing about postgraduate studies is we teach you more about the self. So there's a lot of self-reflection that's required. These are skills now required for the industry. Self-motivation, self-reliance. So this thing about I can work autonomously, because you may be working remotely, particularly now in this post-COVID-19 environment. Can you motivate yourself to get up in the morning and to go and do your work? Can you motivate others? So if you can't motivate yourself, it's going to be difficult to motivate others. So if there's more people in your team that are self-motivated, self-starters, it's going to be easy for you to manage them because they are more autonomous. And let's be honest, you may be sitting there going, I'm okay. I don't need postgraduate studies because I have these skill sets. Well, fantastic. Maybe you want to get engaged with APU and get engaged with our students to help them. But I'm going to argue and say that, are you prepared for the millennials? These graduates that are coming in that maybe are not self-motivated. When I speak to employers, the biggest challenge that they have is, I've just interviewed for a new post. The students want to work at Starbucks. They don't want to come into work. They want to come in at 11 o'clock. They don't want to work at times. They want like a Google type environment where they can have a think and reflect. It's great. We're lucky we have Block A here at APU where we have that opportunity to reflect, etc. But this is the thing about managing them. They're coming from a different era. So we're trying to keep our programs fresh and contemporary. So we're preparing not only the graduates for the future, but also the managers of the future to manage those particular millennials. So what I mentioned about disruptive technologies, we are all using technology, MS Team, to deliver our classes. And we're looking at an environment where it's virtual reality and augmented reality. Is that useful for universities? Universities are looking at this. The modules which encourage more self-reflection. What did you learn? What did you learn about yourself and about the module? Because we're all asked that in appraisals. So give me a summary of your last year. Why do you deserve a bonus? So in this environment, looking more at that self, the learning spaces have changed. So the technologies we're going to use are maybe the ones that we used 5, 10 years ago are no longer in vogue. So the learning space has changed. We have changed. Universities have changed. Programs have changed. And on that, we say our skills development has changed. So I mentioned there about collaboration, that these softer skills. So these are the skills development that we are looking at. The situations in the environment, so you're able to think on your feet, be creative, and solve these problems so they don't have to pay others to come in and solve these problems. Technology and business working hand in hand because, as we said, it's that 2 perspectives and you're getting the best of both worlds. So they're actually, by employing you, they're actually getting one person that can do multiple tasks. Learning about autonomy and what your responsibility and confidence and your own self-worth. And as it says at the bottom, your emotional intelligence as you can deal with situations. I know some organizations in the US are looking at HR departments that can deal with disagreements between a computer and a human. How do you deal with that? I argue with my computer all the time, and I maybe have to work on my emotional intelligence. But in that sense, this thing about how are you going to deal with these situations which are like non-human orientated. So we're moving in this sort of direction. So we need this empathy and understanding of sometimes technology does not get it right. So these things, these skills are going to keep you fresh, and it's ongoing. Even after you do your master's, it's ongoing. It's always a learning curve, and that's why we work with businesses. So it's making sure that we're working in the same, direction and moving forward. So these are examples of just some of our postgraduate programs. We have others behind us. Now they're there. I actually just chose them randomly, and it's only when I looked at them there this morning I thought, it's amazing the amount of technology infused programs we have, and it's not done by in a random fashion. You know, these are just two quotes, two articles from Forbes, talking about COVID-19 will drive a decade of tech growth in just 2 years. Expect more jobs and more automation in the post-COVID-19 economy. So we have to say, is my current skill set, is my current degree, which I did, is it fresh? Is it contemporary, or am I needing that infusion? So these are future-proofed. Technology management, I cannot emphasize the importance of that. We have a technology school, a management school. There, you're getting the best of both worlds. Artificial intelligence, but it's not just about understanding AI, it's understanding its effect on the business environment. Cybersecurity, vitally important. Cybersecurity is also in our accounting and forensic analysis in terms of looking at crime, cyber fraud, forensic analysis, involving both tech and business. Data science and business analytics, the fusion of both. Information technology management, you're seeing the trend. International business communications, but what mediums do we use? We use digital platforms. We infuse it with technology. Masters of Finance and FinTech, financial technology, the fusion of the two. MBA, which is known throughout the world, but with more technology infused modules, because a Master of Business Administration needs to be able to manage people, so the softer skills, that have an understanding of technology and that side of the critical thinking and creativity. Also a range of masters by research and PhDs, where you choose the topic. Maybe your organization has said, listen, we'd like to give you a project that you go and do some research on. Let's see how well prepared we are for the post-COVID-19. You could turn that into a PhD and do that full-time or part-time. But that's enough from us. I think this is now an opportunity for us to have a chat and to discuss any questions that you may have. It's the good thing about this is it's open to discussion, it's open to debate. What if? What will the future hold? And no one has a crystal ball. But what we can try and do is develop our skills to try and prepare ourselves for the future, and, as they say, the future-proof our employability skill set. So I think it's over to yourselves. Any questions or issues you want to discuss?
Hi, thank you so much. All right, so Dr. Lim, do you have any things you want to add on?
Yeah, just to add to Dr. Jason's presentation, right? We have quite a bit of support outside of the classroom. Right? Other than the curriculum, we also have research centers. The research centers are established so that students can do cross-disciplinary work and transdisciplinary work. Because there are times that they need to view a problem from multiple perspectives. So the research centers are clusters where students can mingle with people from different specialization and find their own interest groups to explore. The research centers are really doing quite a bit. We're bringing the industry leaders to speak to our students, to our staff. We also have research workshops. Right? The research workshops provide additional training such as quantitative research skills, qualitative research skills. So as these skills are practiced across the research students, depending on the nature of their research projects. So those additional research skills again help the students to develop complex solving skills ability, which is of course ranked #1 in the secondary data being shared by Dr. Jason. Right? The research colloquium, right? We oftentimes encourage students to speak up, defend certain ideas, to challenge their ideas and challenge other students' ideas in the research colloquium setting. So even during the COVID-19 MCO lockdown, we have a lot of these sessions conducted over Teams, and the students participated actively to engage with each other. We even have our oral defense or viva conducted over these medium. So again, to emphasize the 3 C's, right, that is being shared by Dr. Jason in his earlier slides: complex problem solving, all right, critical thinking, and creativity. Right, I've talked about complex problem solving. Critical thinking is very important, especially in majority of our coursework. We require the students to justify their statements and through their literature. Right? So they have to read up on the latest literature and put up a position. Right? So they have to defend their views. They have to write their viewpoint. We take academic integrity very seriously. All of our submission will go to Turnitin. So we make sure that students write their own voice rather than the voice of Lim or the voice of Jason. We as mentors, right, we view ourselves more as a facilitator to help them achieve those skills and goals. So it's important that students, after reading the literature, to come up with their own positions on those literature out there, so that they can defend, again, communicate clearly, and being creative again, trying to solve a problem through different methodologies, right? It's usually good to view a problem 2 different ways, either it's from a marketing technology point of view or from a human versus machine point of view, so as to gain greater insights of a problem. So I think the ecosystem is within APU is supportive in that nature. And of course, for people that is debating, should they do a strictly online professional certificate with, let's say, Coursera or DataCamp or many other online websites out there? Why bother to come to a university to learn where you interact with people? Again, there's at least 2 dimensions to that. So #1 is you get to meet with people, to actually real people, to interact with you real time, right? So where we can see your body language, where we can address the nuances. So that makes the conversation more interesting and more fruitful, right? As opposed to someone learning on ODL or distance learning fashion, where they may be attending very famous professors' lectures from Harvard or Stanford, but where is the input on learning, right? So it is important that the students get that kind of feedback on their learning. And in APU, we take those at least those feedback very seriously, from various mechanisms or online survey with students. our digital platform where students can comment on their work. We also have face-to-face program committee where we welcome the students' feedback to improve any aspects of our student services and our teaching and learning. So going back to various different options, again, for people that are very self-disciplined, again, they can learn what we teach, in fact, from a curriculum, textbook point of view, in the web without coming to school. However, they will really lack the human interaction, the networking they will build, as well as the instantaneous feedback they will get. Someone that will point out different ways to explain a problem to them. Someone that will give them constructive feedback so that they can improve more quickly. Again, this entire ecosystem with human contact and human interaction is to facilitate that growth for individuals that are looking to pick up a skill that wants to embark on a postgraduate studies. Okay, maybe we can.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lim. So we have someone over here have been asking, should a student try to find a job after doing a degree or after graduating from a degree, or they should continue to do master straight away?
Well, I'll start, then Dr. Jason can jump in. I think it is a challenging course. It's always a challenging decision. It's always whether we want to enjoy the money, right? So because without money, life is miserable. So, but do we just pursue? Do we give up everything just to pursue the money? I think the balance is important. Balance is important. Again, depending on where the person is financially. What I would advise is it's important to invest in the future, right? So if a person is, let's say they're hired by Google or Microsoft at headquarters, they have a very strong career moving forward for them, then go ahead, and it is a golden opportunity. Go ahead and take up that kind of job where the company is providing all the ecosystem for career growth. Well, there could be another group of people that, in order to make a living, they take up a mundane job, right? That doesn't have a great career path, but then they would have a bit more time to pick up a part-time studies, a postgraduate studies, because in many institutions, as well as in APU, we do offer postgraduate studies on a modular basis. So a module can be conducted over a 2-month period, and students can take a break if their work is too intensive. Maybe Dr. Jason can add a bit more.
Yeah, it depends on the individual. It depends on your undergraduate degree as well. If you're looking, how prepared do you feel? Because some students don't feel prepared to go into the world of work, and they feel that they have to develop certain skills, and they think that undergraduate degree hasn't prepared them as much as they want, because when they first started the undergraduate degree, they didn't really know what they wanted to do, what career. And then at the end of that, they then realize, I maybe need to develop certain skills, I maybe need more technology maybe side, and need that fusion between business and technology. That would be the motivation then to pursue more postgraduate study, and maybe more diversity. For me, for example, it's always good to use people as examples. I graduated in social sciences. I had job opportunities in that area, and I looked and I thought, IT is developing. I'm not that old, by the way. It wasn't just being invented. The computer had been invented at that time. And I thought that would be a good move for me. So I went postgraduate studies and pursued IT. And then I went into a career. That was in IT. So in that sense, it suited me because I looked at my skill set and my career options. And so it's exactly what Dr. Lim's saying. If you have, a good career option, like you've done your accounting degree and you have something set up based upon your internship, then I would go and perhaps pursue your career for a year or two, and then you may want to do part-time, full-time postgraduate studies. But if you're still in that, I'm not sure what to do. I'm now wondering about the perishability of my degree. and you might then start to look, maybe you've got a degree at another institution. You might think, I need that technology side, or I need that business side just to make me a more complete and valuable employee. Or maybe the market is unpredictable in your particular sector. And so there is no right and wrong answer. I think it depends on your own individual circumstances, and as Dr. Love said, financially also is important. You might want to do the halfway, which is part-time, which is working at the same time as keeping my skill set refreshed in academia. That is usually quite a strong option to go for. You might also have previous work experience, did your degree, and then you're looking at, well, I've already had that work experience, I might just top it up with that master's experience. But it's all to make your skill set diverse. So if you think you've got the skill set, that's fine. But if you think you need that little bit extra, then I would advise you to go straight towards the master's.
Okay. Yep. So I have a student actually asking, after I completed my bachelor degree, shall I go for professional certifications or I go for master program? What's the difference between these two?
Well, again, it's a good question, whether it's a professional certification or master's. And in some APU program, we have put the two together. So if you look at our AI and as well as our DSBA, we recently signed up with TIPCO. So we also, for DSBA, we also have signed up with SAS, right? So there are programs within APU that you can have the best of both worlds. Again, going back with professional certification, if a student would just go with that, they are studying alone, right? So they may achieve a particular depth with a certain skills. But in a postgraduate setting, we are looking at an overall ability to view problem more holistically from different perspective, right? And the opportunity to interact with academicians, industry leaders, make the interaction and the experience more fruitful as in that setting, right? So again, people have gone on to professional certificates very successfully. There's no right or wrong, going back with Dr. Jason's statement. I think it's what the students are looking for, right? If they are very certain with their career objectives and direction, then go ahead and pick up specific professional certification program and going through their tier structures and climb that ladder. If they are not so sure and they want to explore a bit more with interdisciplinary setting, I think universities is a better place for that, right?
Okay. All right. So we have Mr. Baba over here. He actually asking, would you suggest research-based master or coursework-based master? Which one is better?
Again, it depends on your circumstances. I mentioned there about do you work. I think everyone needs to look at their own skill set and say, because what do I need to develop? What am I good at? And I think when you go through industry, your line manager will ask you about your strengths and weaknesses and try and develop those. So I think if you work well with others and you're wanting to develop that skill, maybe more towards coursework. Whereas if you quite work well autonomously, want to go into the field of working autonomously, and maybe it's then better just to do more research-based. I've taught at institutions where we've worked with designers that they're going to go into a career where they don't really interact with anyone physically. It's more virtually, so they've moved more towards research-based where they're quite comfortable on their own. Other people who go, I'm quite comfortable on my own, but I need to develop that set of skills. The career that I want to go into is more involving people. I want to go more for coursework based. Also the time that you have. Maybe you're wanting more part-time, maybe you want to do modules at your own pace rather than do more research. where it's more more self-directed learning. So you have to know your own sort of character, and it's all very well being influenced by others, but you have to know yourself. So if you think, I need to develop my autonomous, my skills of working with others, you start going group, but be aware that there's challenges for both approaches. Being on your own in research can be isolated, but universities like this will support you with a group of others who are also going through the same thing. If you're going through coursework but want a research component, we have projects. So it kind of gives you the best of both worlds, research and coursework involved in a coursework master's, but purely research, we try and give you the support mechanism, both online and offline, through our graduate school.
Yeah, just to add on, looking at the choices such as this, I think the first differentiator is passion in a specific question or problem area. If a student is very passionate to solve a specific problem, right? They have read or they have seen, then I think research-based is something that allows the students to go deep dive into a specific problem. They will read up on the latest literature. They have to defend their the significance of their solutions. That allows the students to learn a lot about a specific area, right? And in APU, we provide the ecosystem other than the supervisor. There's a research colloquium, there's a research centers, and our program requires the students to do a proposal or work completion defense at least, and before we submit the work for external examination. It has to go through external examiner to APU for examination. So there's definitely a lot more academic rigor in that, because students have to defend their ideas at many juncture to show that they are really knowledgeable in the thesis. This is not to say that there's not enough rigor in the coursework, but then the coursework allow more breadth, right? They have a sampling of various different topical area, and from there, then the students choose to do a project on a specific theme where they need to integrate their knowledge base from these modules. So it's sort of like different pathways, right? Whether you want to go deep dive to begin with, or you want to have a sampling of like a buffet, then you pick a specific dish that you want to go in for your project. I think it works both ways. But again, going back to timing, for research work, research-based masters, the minimum duration is 2 years, even for full-time studies, right? For coursework, some students can finish it within a year. Okay.
So can I say that coursework is actually much easier for students to graduate and complete?
Not really. It depends on what the objective is, right? The objective is because the coursework is, as I said, is broad-based. You are attending the classes on more coursework basis. So there's a bit more breadth. You need to know a variety of things, right? Modules. Whereas if it's a research-based, sometimes we work under a specific silo, work under a specific problems, and students' knowledge may not be as diverse. Okay. And the research training for research-based program is usually preparing the students to work on a PhD, because we have a mechanism where students can do 1 year of masters by research, and if their research proposal is very strong, they can move to a PhD, or we call a conversion exercise to a PhD program, right? So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Well, everyone is know that now data science and cybersecurity is a hot demand in the market now. So, Miss Igrim actually over here asking, if my major was not in IT related field, can I still apply to further my study in master in data science or cybersecurity or even AI?
Right. We oftentimes look at candidates in terms of their quantitative background. How much mathematics? How did they do in the areas related to mathematics, such as statistics, accounting, finance, so that they are quantitatively inclined. Right. We also have prerequisite programs where students can undertake to complete so that they can succeed in the program. Now, we don't view the prerequisite as a hurdle. It's not so much as a hurdle. It's more of helping students that are matured and are able to learn on their own a platform and tools so that they can pick up these elementary skills to help them succeed in the master's program. So in terms of data science, cybersecurity, AI, information technology, software engineering, we all had these prerequisite programs. And once they are in the masters, our lecturers will, based on the material taught during the prerequisite modules, and start from there. Of course, we escalate very quickly to achieve the higher level of cognition that is required by the MQA framework. But then nonetheless, students are given that opportunity to start off slow, but the learning curve will scale up very quickly in order for them to complete the program successfully. Okay?
Mm-hmm. All right. So then, do you recommend us what kind of master program are best for future employment?
Maybe we'll let Dr. Jason have a crack at it first.
I think if you've got the combination, what we've tried to do is, if individuals want to go more in terms of business, they must have an understanding of technology. So if they're going into the financial field, to have that infused with technology, fintech, that would be the blend. So a student that's looking more from a technology point of view but wants to manage people. See, it's not for everyone. Some people just want to do cybersecurity. They have no intentions of managing people. So it depends on people's motivation. That's why we have master's programs. And I think if you only have one choice, that, people want choice now. It's it's like a buffet, an academic buffet, where people would say, well, I want to manage people, but also I'm interested in cyber security, AI. So where can I get? So that's why we have so many programs, so that it caters for everyone. Because you might just want to do cyber security and not really manage people. Everyone is different. So if you're coming from a business point of view, but want technology, we have something for you. If you're coming from a technology background and just want to focus in a particular area of technology, we have something for you. If you're wanting technology but infused with some management, we also have something for you. But remember that all the programs will have these sort of specialist modules which give you a flavor of the other discipline anyway. So you're still getting that best of both worlds. It just depends on how much you want. See, when you go into a bakery, you want white bread, brown bread, black bread. You've got all these choices. That's why we have to have that choice. It's something for everyone.
Well, the good news is the landscape of new knowledge and technology is changing so fast. So students, even if they make a choice, they can always change, and that choice will be obsolete very quickly. So we are cognizant of the rapid change in technology scene. So that's why the lifelong learning skills such as literature research, being critical about the information that is out there, and the ability for students to articulate their thoughts, those are taught across our program, because all our programs will have some research component. It only differs in volume, right? Of course. Then there's a question: should we always, because technology is booming, should we just do technology? Not necessarily, as Dr. Jason pointed out. People skills, human skills, those are again very, very important, right? Even how do we communicate in a digital era? How digital disruption is changing the way we manage people, resources within the company. I think those are important skills to pick up. But again, going back to the principle, learning, ability to learn how to learn and what to learn, those remains constant. A person needs to have that in order to be flexible, adaptive to our changing landscape.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we have Mr. Jerry here. The perception of postgraduate studies is too academic in nature. So how does a master in project management addressed practically in the industry?
Well, I'll jump in, and then Dr. Jason can add his perspective. I think in where we are right now, one thing is for sure is that there's a lot more investment in cloud, right? Cloud computing, cloud equipment. So people are working not necessarily in one venue, one physical location. So there's a lot more coordination that needs to happen, and especially when it comes to projects, every company has them, every university institution will have to work on a project. You work with people from different walks of life, different time zones now. So how do we keep the stakeholders responsible for their work, right? So I think that's an important skill, working across cultures, across time zones, especially when there's the current investment into cloud is going to be a lot because of MCO and COVID. Right? When that investment is being made, a company will want to reap as much returns from those investments as much as possible. There is really no going back because they won't discard all this investment overnight. So moving forward, knowing that companies are going to, in a sense that says, look, in the future hiring, I may not want everybody to be in the same building because I don't want to build more office spaces, right? So they can work from home. So then how do we coordinate among these professionals to work cohesively, right, for a common cause? So I think project management as a subject area, it's definitely very relevant moving forward, right? So that would be not necessarily from a construction industry point of view, but in every sector. How do we coordinate and make sure that everybody in the team pulled in the same direction, right? Dr. Jason.
It's a good point, and it ties in with another question about, will companies hire employees with a master but no work experience? It's this aspect here that master's programs have to have that development of employability skills. So when employers are looking at practical application, so when employers are hiring, they want to say, well, what have you done, in terms of engaging with employees, with, group working, engagement with problem solving. They're looking for, can that person do a job and fit into this environment? So instead of talking about, say, the company that you work for, you're talking about, say, it's the project management that I did. You've done all these things on the project management program or in the master's program. So you're giving them that reassurance that you've got the necessary skills, whether you did it in one company, 10 companies, or across two or three degrees. You're giving them the reassurance, I have these certain employability skills. So yes, people, it's not too academic, it is very much applied, because we're saying you have to develop these skills. So if it was too applied, you wouldn't be developing those employability skills, those soft skills, the creative thinking. All you're developing is your ability to take notes from PowerPoint slides. So it has to be very applied, and you learn a lot. When I did my MBA, you learn a lot from your interacting with others. So I learned a different set of skills from Dr. Lim when we're discussing issues, and you go, that's a fair point. So we give scenarios to get us thinking and talking, rather than here's the question, here's the solution. That's more perhaps an undergraduate. So we have to be disruptive. The market's disruptive. The way we teach has to be disruptive. No longer in the classroom so it's the academic nature of universities has also changed as a result of the market. Otherwise, we would have no students. So that's if it's too academic, people would say, well, it's the same as my degree, so what's the point? You learn from others rather than just one lecturer. Learning from all your colleagues and all that diverse discussion, really useful. So it's not academic, it has to be applied. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting there on 100% employability, as we say. But it's true, because they're employable graduates. So that it really has to be applied. Good question.
Yeah, just to jump on to the next question, there's a comment about what courses that we have that are related to IR 4.0. In fact, within our strategic goals going forward, we are aligned to IR 4.0 requirements, right? So starting with business, you have fintech, you also have big data, AI that is going to be infused with forensic accounting topics like this. So now, of course, going back to tech-based masters, we're going to infuse a lot of this management skills to manage the IR 4.0 technology. So students will be exposed to various technologies in IR 4.0, and then what is the managerial skills that is required to manage these technologies so that companies can perform effectively, right? So, example, AI, big data, cybersecurity, cloud computing, integrated business processes. So all these will be taught, and more critically is how they are being applied in a business world to help businesses gain a competitive edge. Okay, I think that's a question by Akim, right?
But also remember, it's a skill set that you're also developing as well. So, it's important that when you're thinking about your postgraduate studies, that you carefully look at the program. Be always cautious. Our university is looking at these programs of the key aspects. Don't look at the generic ones that say you could do a master's in IR 4.0. We're not saying that. We're saying here's the aspects that are important for Industry 4.0, data analytics, AI, and we're crafting and shaping programs around these important aspects, but also the skills as well. So yeah, it's that infused technology between the two disciplines, the skills that are being developed, the lifelong learning. As well, because you develop that after your master's, it's ongoing, and also these key aspects that you need knowledge moving forward. So yeah, all our courses are adapted to the trends in Industry 4.0.
All right. So our time is running short here. So we go to the last questions. So will company hire employees with a master but without working experience?
That was a good question. We touched on that because it's a common question that comes up. Yes, so long as that master's is relatable and practical application. If it was just purely a philosophical type master's where the lecturers just talk at you, where there's no real engagement or interaction, then you've got little to sell to the employer to say, well, what skills did you develop? Well, self-reflection, not really. Critical thinking, no, I've got all the answers from Google. So you have to show that you've developed those skills, you have engaged with the business, you're able to provide creative solutions to problems. Then the employer will go, okay, that's good. And then over the course of our masters, we engage with these sort of companies. Then the employer's more reassured that you could integrate quickly into that company and that you could do the job that you're being asked to do. You can work with others, you can work under limited direction, and also you've got that diverse skill set. So yes, for sure.
Well, I have a slightly different answer, right? I think the master's or even a good undergraduate qualification may get you into the door, right, of an interview. Then I think the research skills, if the candidate is able to research on the company and put forth a meaningful proposal on how the candidate can contribute to the company, again, that goes back to research skills again. How do you gather secondary data from the company's annual report, if it's a public listed company? Or have you visited the company's website to know what they are selling? Rather than, okay, I'm an interested candidate, I'm hardworking and I'm willing to learn from the organization. Other than standard clauses like this that most students can memorize and repeat, what can a candidate provide in terms of value to a company? If the candidate is able to apply some of their research skills to find out about what the company is doing, the values of the company, and how the candidate can contribute to the company, I think that then they will likely get a job, right? Because it shows interest, it shows that they have put their research skills into practice. I think that's more meaningful. So I think qualification, same thing if you could change your question to say, will a company hire a PhD without work experience? Again, these are not guaranteed. I don't think there's any guarantee to say that, okay, I have a PhD or have 2 PhDs, I will definitely get a job. Company will always ask the question, what kind of value the employee is going to bring to the company, right? And there are many successful people without college or university qualifications. Okay. So
Okay.
that was my answer.
All right. So I find, okay, I actually saw one audience over here. There's a very good question. Maybe we make it the last one now. All right. So as we can see, IT-related fields are high in demand in this era. However, is there any other field of studies that you would recommend for students besides IT?
From my side, we are looking at other areas that involve the management of people and getting the best out of people. In this environment where it doesn't matter if you're in any sector, we're now asking staff to go above and beyond to add value to the organization. So having managers who can work with others to get the best out of them, to motivate them, to keep morale going, so the management of people, and as I said, these softer skills, this is in high demand. There's in specific jobs, and there's always these jobs which come and go. But skills, there was Zumba was very popular. I remember putting up a slide years ago that said the jobs of the future, and it was all Zumba, and it's maybe less Zumba now. I haven't been to a Zumba class for quite some time, but no one's saying anything. No, someone could come up and then the questions and say Zumba's fantastic, or I saw you, Jason, at a Zumba class recently. But these come and go. So in terms of it's more the skills that are required, are essential. But I would say management and human resource, and these sort of areas, the people skills, these sort of areas are, I think, important. But obviously technology, but technology is so vast because it's infusing all sectors. So that's the thing. It's not just I want to go into the IT sector. Every sector is infused with technology now. So it's touched all aspects.
Yeah, I'll go with two thoughts here. One is the geopolitics that is happening, right? If you look at the leading economic powers like America, the Western Europe, China, when just these three, they are all aging population. Aging population. What does it mean? Well, people are going to get old. They're not going to get. Someone is going to have to take care of them, right? And when we and in this country they tend to marry late. Their children will have to take care of their own children. So who will take care of the elderly? So I think healthcare sector, as the population age, is a sector that we call it the care economy. If you read up on the World Economic Forum report, so that will be growing for sure, right? The care economy. If people won't believe that if you're from a Chinese family, the midwives, right? The lady that takes care of after a woman delivers his pregnancy, they get paid 5 figures right now, right? In China, just for a month or two, just to take care of the new mothers. Right? Who would have thought of that, right? So I think that's one field. The second, I think, is not going away is ability to sell, right? Digital marketing, right? So again, going back with MCO, now people are hooked on to this digital sort of channel. It's not going to go away, right? People are used to it. They have adjusted their buying behavior, and it's drastically different. Because if you buy online, it's triggering different sectors of your head, right? Sometimes you buy things irrationally. So you say, oh, they're running a good sale. Shopee is giving me free
7 7
7 7, 6 6,
yeah.
8 8, or 11 11, oh, I'm going to buy this, I really need it, but after you bought it, say, wait a minute, I don't really like the product. So again, understanding how the human thinks, all right, because we're, again, human, right? So the human psychology, the soft skills, right? That aspect to help to sell. It's a different ball game because we will shop online. The technology, of course, can interact and find out our preference, but ultimately it's tapping into the human psyche and tapping into that animal brain to make us buy more impulsively, right? So I think digital marketing won't go away. Selling again is an important skill. I think that those are the areas I will focus. Healthcare, okay, digital marketing, and of course going back to just a human resource, right? Because of the fluidity, there's a need to hunt down talented people to join the organization. But you can't just say, okay, I'm going to offer you more money, right? Because money may not be the most important thing they look for. So you got to study the individual profile, what they like, what they don't like, what they value. Are they valuing families a bit more? Are they valuing children education a bit more? And because that would impact the benefits we offer, right? Should we offer more health insurance? Should we offer a gym membership versus, okay, I'm going to give you more money, right? Should we offer a 5-day week versus I'm going to offer you more money, but I'm going to make you work 7 days a week. You can't leave your handphone alone because all the WhatsApp's going to come in. So I think studying of the subjects, being connected with people, those are important skills going forward.
All right. So I understand that there's a lot more questions coming in, but we are short of time. Maybe everyone welcome to write into us. You can visit our Facebook, our website to send in your inquiry to ask more, or come to visit our open day on this weekend for those in Malaysia. So for those in Malaysia, welcome to APU Open Day on this weekend to find out more on 11 and 12 July from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So do not forget, this coming Saturday, 11 July, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Malaysia time, we have a topic on FinTech and Future of Financial Services by Dr. Nafis. So Dr. Nafis is one of the top 100 FinTech experts. So don't miss out this session. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Jason and Dr. Lim. So see you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you. Good night.
Take care. Good night.